Good morning and welcome to another edition of Focus Forward. It's been pouring for the last week. We've still been in a bit of lockdown. Had some good news though, of course, some of the restrictions were eased last night, or the night before. But actually, there's still stuff that we need to do during this period. And I want to talk today about staying positive during lockdown. And even though I think we have adjusted reasonably well, the majority of us, to our new status quo, I think there's still things that we need to take on board because our freedoms have been slightly restricted. And by that, I'm not a conspiracy theorist and, Big Brother is watching, but actually our life has changed. And there are things that we need to really look at, especially going forward. There's this hope of a vaccine and that things will all get better and all of that. But for the foreseeable future, we still are very much at risk for corona and the impact and that sort of thing. And that just means that we are far more insular than we used to be for the main part. So what are the things that we can do to make our lockdown, however that looks? I mean, we may be going to work every day and all of that sort of thing, but we still have a lot of home time where we are really, we're not interacting like we used to with people. So what can we do? If we are still at home, or even if we're going out to work, and now especially with a lot of kids being homeschooled, routine is key. So we need to create our routines. And by that I mean, you get up at X time, you have your breakfast, you do your exercise, etc., and you lead your life following a routine, because that just gives us structure in a relatively structureless world. So just looking at that, it's so much easier if we're following some rules and that sort of thing. Especially important if you're homeschooling kids. There must be set class times because, like everybody, kids also need downtime. So instead of letting them lie in bed or playing video games to 11 and only then starting their work or whatever, 8:30, 9 o'clock, start their school day, work for the 5 or 6 hours, whatever it takes, and then they can be off and have their down and children time. Same with you as an adult. Start your work day at your normal time, but finish it. Don't keep it going. Don't work into the night just because our computer's there, etc. Hugely important routine. The next thing is your body is a temple, and I mean that's such a cliche, but look after yourself. Look at what you're putting in your mouth all the time. Drinking, which we can now do again, which is great, but just be careful of what you do. If you're going through 3 bags of crisps every day and 5 chocolates, it's not really good. Temper what you're putting into your body, and how you're eating. Is it all fast food takeouts, or are you actually cooking healthily and looking after yourself? Are you taking your vitamins? Are you doing the right thing? Always important. The next thing is, of course, you really, really have to embrace your emotions. We are going to be feeling a whole host of different emotions at the moment, from anger at being locked in or restricted, to slightly emotional, to very emotional. I mean, a lot of us are losing people on a daily or weekly basis. And, often our emotions don't catch up. So embrace your emotions. Acknowledge what you're feeling. Always an important thing. Less is more. Honestly, we live in a consumerist society, but maybe just start decluttering your life. Be that cleaning out that closet that you've been meaning to clean out for years, or is it a mental thing? Declutter, defrag, get rid of stuff. Less is more, and look at the essence of what you need. Big one, go offline and go outside. So Don't be online 24/7. There's a lot of negativity. It really isn't great if you're constantly online watching all these conspiracy theories and are we being vaccinated, aren't we being vaccinated, vaccines are going to change your DNA, etc., etc. Go offline. Make it a point to spend quality time offline every day, and I'll come up with something just after this as well. And then the important thing is get outside. Take a walk, even if it's a stroll around your apartment block or into the garden, or a good solid walk outside. Stop and smell the roses, because we actually need to do that. We need to embrace the nature and being outside and just breathing air that isn't just our home air. Keep calm. Read a book. So when you go offline, pick up a book that you've been meaning to read. Find a topic that interests you. And if you're not a big reader, because some people really aren't, I love reading, but if you're not a reader, find a podcast and listen to it. What I'm saying is, don't look at your screen all the time. Just have your podcast, center yourself and listen, learn, experience, get new ways of getting information in. And finally, I think this is an ideal opportunity to learn something new. I mean, a lot of people, right at the beginning of the first lockdown, do you remember everybody went out and started baking banana bread and baking this and baking that, or cooking and that sort of thing? Do that. Learn a skill that you don't have. Maybe for years you've been wanting to learn to paint or something, I don't know, watercolors, or play the piano or the guitar. It doesn't even have to be that important. Maybe it's start doing the crossword if you've always wanted to do it. Learn to play chess. Just do something, learn something new. Of course, there's all those online courses that you can do. Maybe pick up on that and do an online course. This has been Focus Forward. I'm Chris Haven Smith. Have a wonderful week.